want to continue in the sin series, which is sexual immorality. Sexual immorality. Sexual immorality is all over the Bible in different shapes and forms. And in the King James Bible, it is usually hidden behind the word fornication. Fornication is a general term that's used throughout the Bible, and several of its uses, it's actually sexual immorality. Because the word, we're going to look at the meaning of the word, or fornication, refers to that. It's more general than fornication. Now, sexual, we know what that relates to, but immorality, let's look at the meaning of the word immorality. Immorality comes from the word moral. It's the opposite of moral. And immorality of or concerned with the judgment of or concerned with the judgment of right or wrong of human action and character. So things that are moral are things that are right. Immoral are things that are wrong. Generally, that's the most general understanding or explanation. Another meaning, teaching or exhibiting moral goodness or correctness of character and behavior. Correctness of character or behavior. Exhibiting or teaching.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Immorality?
No, moral.
Oh, what's the meaning of moral?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because immorality is the opposite.
Oh,
So we're just
okay.
giving the meaning of moral.
Okay.
All right, the next one is conforming to standards of what is right or just in behavior. So if you have a right standard, we conform to it. So in the Bible, what is right is moral. What is wrong is immoral. Virtuous. Arising from conscience or the sense of right and wrong, such as a moral obligation. Based on strong likelihood or firm conviction rather than on the actual evidence. I don't know about that use in the Bible. All right. Another one is rules or habits of conduct, especially of sexual conduct, with reference to standards of right and wrong. So, sexual immorality in the Bible would essentially be things that do not conform to the biblical standards that are set for sexual relations between a man and a woman. And we go to is it Genesis 2? Verse 23.
And Adam said, This is now bone of my bones, and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh.
All right. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. That's the original standard. Shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. That word cleave there is very significant, not there for a show. Let's look at the meaning. Cleave, to impinge, that is cling or adhere. Figuratively, to catch by pursuit. Abide, fast. Cleave, fast together. Cleave fast together. Follow close, hard after. Be joined together. Keep fast, overtake, pursue hard, stick, take. So the two will glue together, will stick together, be joined together. That is the Most High's basic instruction for the man and the woman. So generally, sexual immorality is any mode of sexual conduct that is unrighteous according to the original standard of the Most High, as laid out by Adam when he declared what we just read. Now, the word for sexual immorality in the Bible, it is the word for fornication, and we took it from, I think, 1 Corinthians 6, something like that. It's a very telling word because just the name of the word lets you understand immorality. It's from the Greek word G4205, which means pornos, which comes from the word pernemy, which means to sell, akin to the base of that. A man who prostitutes his body to another's lust for hire, a male prostitute, a man who indulges in unlawful sexual intercourse, a fornicator, unlawful sexual, sexual intercourse, a fornicator. Strong's definition, a male prostitute, as venal, that is by analogy, a debauchee, libertine, fornicator, whoremonger. A debauchee. Who is a debauchee? As you know all of the other definitions, who is a debauchee?
If you don't mind me asking, what's a debauchee?
Yeah, we're going there. Who is a debauchee? One who practices debauchery.
Which is?
Yeah. That's how they do it in the Bible. That's why I smile. Because they put it in the Bible. You're looking for the meaning of debauchery and they give you another meaning that doesn't give you the meaning. But then it goes on. Debauchery is extreme indulgence in bodily pleasures, and especially sexual pleasures. Behavior involving sex, drugs, alcohol, etc., that is often considered immoral. That was a dream with this. There was a dream with the smoking. So you can bear it in mind. Debauchery, let me say it again. Extreme indulgence in bodily pleasures, and especially sexual pleasures. Behavior involving sex, drugs, alcohol, etc., that is often considered immoral. So let's look at some synonyms of immoral: bad, dark, evil, iniquitous, nefarious, rotten, sinful, unethical, unlawful, unrighteous. I guess that's the best one when it comes to the biblical standard. Unrighteous, unsavory, vicious, vile, villainous, wicked, wrong. Some antonyms which will let you know the opposite. This is how we should be: decent, ethical, good, honest, honorable, just, moral, right, righteous, sublime, upright, virtuous. Those are all the positives where we need to be when it comes to immorality or sexual immorality. Now, sexual immorality had been equated with sin from the beginning. Go to Genesis 3:6-7.
And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat.
Mm-hmm.
And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together, and made themselves aprons.
The physical and the spiritual together. They sinned and they knew that they were nakedness. They were naked, sorry. So nakedness is equated with sin. Now, they sewed fig leaves together. And go to verse 11, when Yahuwah spoke to them.
And he said, Who told thee that thou wast naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree, whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat?
So nakedness and sin wrapped up together. So that is why throughout the scriptures the Most High equates nakedness with sin. Which is why when we get dreams and people being naked, we know it's speaking of sinfulness or something lacking before the Most High. And yeah. So let's look at the use of nakedness to refer to, before we get to us, let's look at the use of nakedness that the Most High uses to refer to the nation. Lamentations 1 verse 8.
Jerusalem hath grievously sinned, therefore she is removed. All that honored her despise her, because they have seen her nakedness. Yea, she sigheth and turneth backward.
And turned backward, because they have seen her nakedness. Nakedness is the sinfulness of Jerusalem. And when people see our nakedness, it says, all that honored her despise her. So if any of us were to go into sin, Yahweh forbid, then we will be despised. As much as we believe we are despised now, we will be truly be despised. Now, most of us, all of us, being exposed to Babylon, growing up in Babylon, we grew up in the nakedness of Babylon, the sins and the pollutions of Babylon. That is why the Most High tells us to come out of her. And when he tells us to come out of her, he brings us through a transition period, a period of change, a period when he puts us through. It is like we are going through um, a cleansing process. I know in America you have some car washes where the car passes through, and while it's passing through, it is washed automatically. It is like the same thing that is happening to us when we come out of Babylon, because Babylon's nakedness, we have participated too much of the nakedness of Babylon, and we ourselves are naked through the sins of Babylon and through the way of life that we have been taught in Babylon. That is why I say those of us who are in the West, especially United States of America, where the heart of Babylon is, the closer you are to the heart of America, the more you will be polluted with Babylon's nakedness, and the more transformation we will require. Isaiah 47 verse 1, speaking about the nakedness or the pollutions, the sins of the nations, sins of Babylon, verses 1 to 6.
Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstones and grind meal, and cover thy locks, make bare the leg, and cover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man.
Nakedness of Babylon. Go ahead.
As for our Redeemer, Yahuwah Sabaoth is his name, the Holy One of Yasharal. Sit thou silent, and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms.
Verse 6.
I was wroth with my people, I have polluted mine inheritance, and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou verily heavily laid thy yoke.
Alright, that is us now. The Most High gave us into Babylon's hand, and Babylon showed us no mercy. Alright? Not only did they put a heavy yoke upon us, but they indoctrinated us to the point of utter pollution. Utter pollution. And when you think about Babylon, United States, the headquarters of everything that is evil in this world. Headquarters of the movie industry. United States is the headquarters of pornography. United States is the headquarters of nudity. It's the headquarters of everything that is evil. Polluting music. United States is the headquarters. So they did a really good job on us. The headquarters of pride. United States is the headquarters of that. Now, this nakedness that they brought upon us brought us into idolatry. Idolatry to the nth power. Because if you look at us from over in the West, we are not only fixated on material possessions, we are possessed with self-idolatry. We make ourselves idols. And our focus is heavily on ourselves. And it is like we cannot rip ourselves away from ourselves. It's hard for us to come together and conform to systems that take ourselves out of the picture. And even though we might take ourselves out of the picture, there comes times when the self is just pulled in and the idolatry exposed. Go to Ezekiel 16:36-37.
Thus saith Yahuwah, Eluah, because thy filthiness was poured out, and thy nakedness discovered through thy whoredoms with thy lovers, and with all the idols of thy abominations, and by the blood of thy children, which thou didst give unto them. Behold, therefore, I will gather all thy lovers, with whom thou hast taken pleasure, and all them that thou hast loved, with all them that thou hast hated. I will even gather them round about against thee, and will discover thy nakedness unto them, that they may see all thy nakedness.
All right. So the nakedness is poured out through the whoredoms with the idols, with idolatry. And by the blood of thy children which thou didst give unto them. And our idolatry is us offering our children unto the system, unto Baal. And we follow up with their system. If our child is good in sports, we sell our child to them for the hope of money. We look in the scholastic system. For example, basketball. If your child is good in basketball, then they will come and give your child scholarship and bam, take the scholarship, send their child to their university. And if the child becomes good, then they buy your child and pay you a huge price to have that child to play professionally. And almost all parents in the United States sell their children, thus with the hope that they will become millionaires simply because of the children. It's just an example of how we sell our children unto them. But through idolatry, our nakedness is discovered. So, as I was speaking about idolatry earlier, and we said when we come out of Babylon, the idolatry is with us and built in us. When we come out, to get it out of us, it is going to come with shame, it's going to come with embarrassment in order to get the idolatrous traits out of us. That's why it says in verse 37, I will even gather them round about against thee, and will discover thy nakedness unto them, that they may see all thy nakedness. So the sins have to come out. So the best thing for us is to declare the sins instead of letting the Most High discover our sins to others. So we have two choices. It is either we declare the sins, or the Most High will declare it for us and embarrass us. All right? So remember immorality. Remember immorality. Sexual immorality is any deviation from the original order of the Most High. And idolaters are debauchers who have extreme indulgence in bodily pleasure and especially sexual behaviors, including behavior involving sex, drugs, alcohol, etc. So let us look at types of sexual immorality. Just gonna speak about them. And the most obvious one that deviates is adultery. Adultery is quite plainly the act of, in its simplest form, the act of married people not cleaving to another but going off to another person. A married person having sexual relations with someone outside of the marriage. Okay? This is one of the most obvious sins, and it is a sin unto death in the Bible. So it's a very, very serious, serious sin in the Bible. Now, adultery can take several forms, and I think down the line we might see the different forms that it takes. And today, modern couples today involve themselves in adultery, and we live in a sick world now because adultery now sometimes is consenting. The partners consenting with the others. It also takes the form of bringing in people into the bedroom as well. Huh?
Swinging.
Sin?
Swinging.
Yeah, or they call it swinging. Yeah. That is, which is another one of the sexual sins that, yeah, we're going to look at that as well further on. Another one is fornication, and adultery and fornication spiritually in the scriptures is spiritually referred to as idolatry. Idolatry. Fornication is having sexual encounters outside of marriage. Now, the Most High instituted marriage. Just go back to that thing about of Adam, a man shall leave father and mother and cleave to his wife. That is the ideal moral standard. Now, if we go outside that moral standard and have sexual encounters before we are married, then that is a sin. Now, no, in the United States, for example, I'm going to show you an instance of Babylon. Babylon pollutes us. In the United States, when they have this prom, the thing about prom, when their children reach a certain age, they go on dates, and the parents send them out on dates to proms. That is encouraging fornication. A woman in the scriptures is supposed to be kept as a virgin until she is given over to a husband, and she would be the woman for life for that husband. That's how it is in the Bible. In the United States, it's go on dates. They go to proms. They go on dates. And dates is like the testing ground. But then anything goes. Because it is then left up to the power of the people who go on the dates. Now, different people have different powers. Some people have self-control, some do not. So it is a temptation to fornicate. Dates, a temptation to fornicate. Now, in the scriptures, the partners are kept away from each other until time for them to come together. So, Babylon there shows you the opposite. So, sexual immorality, almost all of us have been involved in sexual immorality through us going on dates and having casual sex with people, testing people, not realizing that we have been polluting ourselves and polluting people. Okay? Now another one of the big, I call it the big three, the big five. The third one is homosexuality. Homosexuality is having sexual intercourse with someone of the same sexual, huh?
Same gender.
Same gender, a gender as they call it, yeah. Males having sexual encounters with males, females with females. Now this was the hallmark of Sodom and Gomorrah. And it is also the hallmark of the pagan religions. In the pagan religions, they had what is called temple prostitutes, because the worship of idols, homosexuality has to do strongly to do with idolatry. And let's go to Romans 2. Let me see if I got it right all this time. I'm always switching between Romans 2 and 3. Romans 1 and 2. No, it's Romans 1. Verse 18.
For the wrath of Elohim is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who hold the truth in unrighteousness, because that which may be known of Elohim is manifest in them, for Yahuwah hath showed it unto them. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. Because that when they knew Elohim, they exalted him not as Elohim, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations.
This is idolatry, eh? Continue.
And their foolish hearts was darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools, and changed the splendor of the uncorruptible Elohim into an image made like two corruptible man, and two birds, and four-footed beasts, and creeping things.
So that is idolatry. Read a little slower, please. That is idolatry there. The Most High gave them over to idolatry. But we're going to see what is closely tied to idolatry. Verse 24.
Wherefore Elohim also gave them up to uncleanliness through the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves.
So there we go. So idolatry, idolaters, homosexuality is heavily connected to the worship of idols. That is why it is evidence today. That is why in the Catholic Church there is such a heavy evidence of homosexuality. The fathers, the men, the priests messing around with the young boys. Heavy. And also, it is also prevalent in Christianity. I don't know why, but it's promiscuity in general.
Sexy losers.
Pardon?
Sexy losers. Remember the thing you showed me?
Yeah, promiscuity in general in the church, because sometimes the pastors are straight, but they mess around with the church sisters. Other times they are homosexuals as well, because of the idolatry, the worship of a man as a lure. Verse 23 tells us, and change the image, the splendor of the uncorruptible allure into an image made like to corruptible man. That is why you will have so much sexual perversions in Christianity, because they worship corruptible man. All right, read again from 24.
Wherefore Allure also gave them up to uncleanliness through the lusts of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves, who changed the truth of Allure into a lie, and worshipped and served the creature more than the Creator, who is Baraked forever. So let it be. For this cause Yahuwah gave them up unto vile affections, for even with women did
Even dear woman.
for even their woman did change the natural use into that which is against nature. And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one toward another, men with men, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error which was meet.
28.
And even as they did not like to retain Allure in their knowledge, Yahuwah gave them over to a reprobate mind, to do those things which are not convenient.
So there is still a hope for them. If they retain allure in their knowledge, then they can be saved. But if they do not like to retain allure in their knowledge, Yahweh will give them over to a reprobate mind. And those reprobates there means your fate is sealed, you are damned. All right? And Yahuwah will give them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient. And so they will descend more and more and more into sin. Verse 29. All of these sins will encompass them. So we see their homosexuality, very serious sin. It leads us to all of these sins now. Verse 29.
Being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers, backbiters, haters of allure, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents,
Oh boy.
without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of Allure, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not
Not only
only
do
do
the
the same,
same.
but have pleasure in them that do them.
Wow. What a condemnation. So we have to repent of homosexuality, lest the Most High gives us over to a reprobate mind. All right? Pardon?
Spiritual life.
Now the next one is incest. Let's go to the book of Leviticus, chapter 18. Start at verse 5. And just do 5 and 6.
Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. I am Yahuwah. None of you shall approach to any that is near of kin to him, to uncover their nakedness. I am Yahuwah.
I am Yahuwah. None of you shall approach to any that is near of kin to him to uncover their nakedness. So this is incest. And it is not so common a sin, but it is one of the most destructive sins along with homosexuality. Destructive. It can affect even your mind. When a family member, and this is often common, bigger family member mess around with children, that is a very common thing. And you often hear of uncle and all of those things. Messing around with the little children, with their sexually perverted selves. Destroying the children because that scars the child for life sometimes. Yeah? But incest is very dangerous because it happens in the comfort of homes. Sometimes the parents might leave the child with a relative, and the perverted relative abuses the child. That is utter gross wickedness. Yeah? But in Leviticus 18, and you can read it, it goes along and tells you all the different family members that must not come together. All right. The next one is another nastiness: bestiality. Bestiality is sexual intercourse with an animal. That crosses the line. We were speaking about adultery, fornication, homosexuality, incest, man to man, to woman, to man to woman, whatever between man and woman. But now to leave the natural use of man totally and go into bestiality, which is a sin unto death. Where is it again? Exodus 22:19.
Whosoever lieth with a beast shall surely be put to death.
Shall surely be put to death. And I was had a controversial thing with people when I told them that you have a habit of people letting the animals sleep with them in their beds. And I was telling them that it is very dangerously close to lying with an animal, because the meaning of lie is shakab. It means everything from sexual intercourse to literally lying with the animal. All right, listen to the meanings. To lie, lie down, lie on. To lodge, to lie of sexual relations, to lie down in death. To rest, relax figuratively. To be lain with sexually. To be lain with sexually. To make, to lie down, to be laid. Yeah. In the Strongs, it says to lie down, for rest, sexual connection, decease, or any other purpose. You see it? For rest is one of them. So those people sleeping with their animals. There is no way a believer today should be sleeping with an animal. And I had people seeking to come out of Babylon and asking me about bringing their animals from the United States to here. That is idolatry, no doubt. There's no way an animal, you fleeing, you have to bring an animal across continents. No way. Anyway, to lie down for rest, sexual connection, decease, or any other purpose at all, cast down, over, lay self down, make to lie down, lie down, lie down to sleep, lie down still, lie with, no, lie still, lie with, lodge, ravish, take rest, sleep, stay. You see the meanings? And think about sleeping with a dog. Now, one might say, well, it means sexual. But to me, with all of these meanings, I'm going to take it to mean that I am not going to take any chances and be lying down with an animal, and then the Most High actually really does mean to be lying down with the animal. We can love an animal, take care of the animal, because we are to take care and love beasts. Take care of the animal, but to have that animal in our intimate space lying down with us, I don't see it in the scriptures at all. Anyway, the next one is another easy one. It's prostitution. Prostitution is selling one's body for intercourse or the pleasure of another. Now that in itself, we just need a conscience to let us know that that is wrong, because our body is not for sale. Why should we be selling our bodies? So that is another obvious one there. Then we have lewdness and nakedness. We're going to kind of deviate from the major ones. Lewdness and nakedness. When we actually present ourselves as being lewd and we are clothed scantily, that is a sin, because our body is the temple of the Most High. Shall we take the temple of a Lua and make it the temple of a harlot? That's what Shaul says, I think, in 2 Corinthians. Let me see if I can find it. Pop up. Let's go to where's that? Let's see if I can find it. 1 Corinthians 6. Verse 15 to 16.
Yea,
No. 1 Corinthians 6:15-16.
Know ye not that your bodies are the member of Hamashiach? Shall I then take the member of Hamashiach and make them the members of an harlot? Allah forbid. What? Know ye not that he which is joined to an harlot is one body? For two, saith he, shall be one flesh. But he that is joined unto Yahuwah is one spirit. Flee fornication.
It's flee sexual immorality. That would be the more relative thing. Continue.
Every sin that a man doeth is without the body, but he that committeth fornication sinneth against his own body.
Continue.
What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of Ruach HaKadosh, which is in you, which ye have of Eloah, and ye are not your own? For ye are bought with a price. Therefore exalt Yahuwah in your body, and in your Ruach, which are Elohah's.
So we are to exalt him in our body. We cannot take our body and make it a member of a harlot. So harlots go around scantily led. And this is another thing that Babylon does to us. They make we have our children walking around half naked, dressed like those people who we see on the televisions, dressed like harlots. And that is the standard way. You can hardly get good, proper dresses for the children in Babylon. Hardly. Well, that's the only good thing that places like Amazon actually do. You may be able to search and find someone that has it. But for you to go out in the world, store to store, and find proper clothing, proper set-apart clothing, almost impossible. So Babylon strives to make our bodies the body of harlots. So, yeah. So the other one now, another sexual thing is lust and lasciviousness. Lust and lasciviousness. When we are lustful. So we might say we are not committing adultery. And this is what Hamashiach dealt with. Matthew 5 verse 27.
Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, Thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you, that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart.
So that is lust there. Looketh on a woman to lust after her, you have already committed adultery. So it is no use me saying that, and when people say Old Testament only, they rub out this command here. So they end up staying in their lust. You see it? Because this says if you lust after a woman, you have committed adultery. So this would prevent lusting. But Old Testament only rubs this out. No New Testament, so this is no longer valid. So lust and lasciviousness. What is lasciviousness? Lasciviousness. Unbridled lust. So you have lust, which is just a passing lust. You might see a woman pass, and you lust after her in your heart. But lasciviousness now is taking lust to a higher level. That is unbridled lust. Lust that cannot be controlled. Excess. licentiousness, lasciviousness, wantonness, outrageousness, shamelessness, insolence. And I knew this unbridled lust in my life. I could write a book about my experience with lasciviousness. This is a very dangerous lust because it will get us into all sorts of trouble. This is a lust that causes rape. Yeah? And it causes marriages to break up because the person who has this unbridled lust will not be able to control it, and it will negatively impact their relationship. You have some husbands have unbridled lust and they live with prostitutes. I saw something on, it was something that went around on Facebook earlier this year. That this man, what was he doing? He had something, he was naked in his car or something and went up to a drive-through. And the drive-through person took the video of it. And when he realized that he was being videoed, he drove away. And the woman contacted his wife. And he committed suicide. There was a thing the other day on it, and people were commenting on who was wrong and who was right, should she have done this and whatever. But that is what unbridled lust does. It can even take lives if it is not controlled. Strong's definition: licentiousness, sometimes including other vices, filthy lasciviousness, wantonness. So wantonness there is just people that's going around just satisfying their desires. That should be nowhere near us as believers anyway, but the other one is rape, and we know what rape is. Forcibly what should you say? Forcibly impinging on someone's right. Forcing ourselves sexually on another person. That is rape. And of course, rape takes different channels today. It doesn't have to be physical. It doesn't have to involve actual intercourse, etc. But for us as believers, anything near these things is a sin, because we know that our minds and our hearts have to be clean. All right? Another one of them, sexual immorality, is orgy. They call it swinging, I think. That's another branch of it. Orgy is one of them. This is having intercourse with multiple partners. Again, if we use the standard in Adam, we realize that it cannot be right, because Adam's standard is a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife. So multiple partners, that is another no for us. Another one of them is controversial, and let me just say that it isn't what it sounds like before I say it. It is polygyny. Now, polygyny is not a sin, but how it is largely being done today, it is a sin. I'm going to explain. Polygyny was given under the Torah. Let me get it, the permission first. Shemot 21, verse 10.
If he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and the duty of marriage shall he not diminish.
So this is the Torah. To take another wife, all of the wives must be treated equally. You cannot have a wife and then you treat her less than the other one. And the duty of marriage there refers to cohabitation. It refers to intercourse. So in other words, the Most High is saying, if you have two wives, you cannot be having intercourse with one more than the other. The difference with that is concubines. Concubines they can have whenever, but with wives it has to be equal. It has to be equality. Now today we have our brothers who say they are awakened under the Hebrew Israelite religion. Most of them believe in and defend polygyny, multiple wives. But their multiple wives, it is like they are stalkers stalking women, trying to pile up women. Many of them, they seek women mostly on the internet. And they find women on the internet. And some of them, I have heard story of them, and we did not meet each other until after X amount of time. And we did not have intercourse until such and such a time. It is just an excuse to continue our carnal lives that we had in the world. In the world, we did the same thing. We sought to find women on the internet. We sought to find women where we could have intercourse with, to pile up women. Polygyny is...
Quick question of it, man. Suppose they meet them in person and they have enough money to afford them.
That's the whole thing. But for us,
that way it's lawful.
It's lawful, but it's not expedient. It's not expedient for us as believers today, because today we are supposed to be shedding, going to the minimum to actually meet the Messiah. Under our covenant, we are supposed to be denying the self. Now, to be piling on partners is not denying the self. It is no satisfying the self. Shaul says he wished that everyone was unmarried. But if you burn, do marry. So, in other words, for us today, marriage must be a minimal thing that will cause us to sin, because if we burn, or cause us not to sin, because if we are burning, we will want to commit adultery or fornication or lust and all of those things. So to be piling on things are not expedient for us. So I'm just saying, speaking from the law, from the Torah, they are piling on wives. Most of the wives, they do not live together. They are internet wives. And the rights of marriage is not being split, because I see even some of the, here how they do it. Even some of the women, they don't know the other wives. Some of them women don't even know that they have other wives. What I found out about this was a case of one of them that came out, and he had some perverted things with his wife, and his wife, one of his wives, and his wife went out publicly and disclosed it. And it was in the public disclosure and her speaking, I realized how these people actually operate. It's no different from sinners in this world. It's like a man dealing with a woman behind the other woman's back. But I know in the Bible, when they had wives, they knew the other wives. But polygyny today is a big source of sexual sins. All right? Another sexual sin today that might not be explicitly written in the Bible, but it is against the way of Adam, is flirting. Flirting. Flirting is when people fool around and mess around, pretending, acting things out. And let me get the meaning in the Bible, in the dictionary. Flirting. To come close to reaching or experiencing something. to come close to reaching or experiencing something. So a woman will flirt with a man, bring the man to the point to think that she cares for him, or let him think that he's going to get what he wants, and then she just breaks it off. To behave amorously without serious intent. Alright? So that's fooling around, really. That's playing around. And we know the Most High speaks about idle jesting. He speaks about idleness. And this, of course, flirting is not of Yahuwah. Another sexual sin is pornography. Porneo comes from pornography. Pornography, with its headquarters in the US, and they said most of the pornographic sites, big sites, are owned by Jews. The pornographic industry is a disease. Pornography is a disease. And I remember once being in the grips of this pornography back in my days, and being on pornographic sites, going through. And it's like the sites are so wicked. One picture after the other. You cannot be one picture, and you scroll and scroll and scroll, and you are seeing what you want, what you desire, what everything. Pornography. And this is what? There are still people who say they are believers today who are still in the grips of pornography. No, pornography can range from a little lewdness, a little slight nakedness, to explicit sex. And Babylon gives us a little of the pornography with the nakedness and with the television programs. The television movies, now the stars. I mean, back in the days when I used to watch it, it moved from when the stars were clothed till now you see them in bed naked, almost. They bring us almost to the point of them having intercourse together. That is where they have us now. And then they will slap PG-13 or PG whatever on it. But we know that the children are still going to see it. Yeah? Pornography in its mildest form. In its most extreme form, it is the internet. And it reached a point where I realized that all you had to do was to put in sex. I had the experience with some children who got exposed to pornography. And all they did, I asked them what they did, they just put in sex. And look at the images, pornographic images come up. Just like that. From the internet. Destroying the minds of those children from they were young. Now, pornography, when you are looking at those images, is closely tied to our next sin, which is the result of pornography built up passions inside of us, masturbation. Masturbation is a huge sin. A huge sin because it is not intercourse between a man cleaving to his wife. It is intercourse with the self, which comes with the next one we're talking about, fantasizing. All three of them are related to each other. Fantasizing. Now, let me start with fantasizing. With pornography, then fantasizing. When people see pornography, then it leads them to fantasize. You fantasize because that image that you're seeing, you start fantasizing that you are actually having intercourse with that person. Now, that fantasizing is actually in your mind. It is actually the devil taking over your mind and leading you into a world of your own, taking you out of the world, the present world you're in, into an an assumed world, artificial world. Then when you go into that world, you want a release from all the pent up because of how the body is made. When we are sexually aroused, we need a release from it. And the release that we do from it is masturbation. Masturbation is the intercourse with the self. And many people, I see many even Christians saying masturbation. There's nothing wrong with masturbation. Which is the common sense tells you that something has to be wrong. Because first you have to be thinking of filthy thoughts. You have to be thinking of, for example, without pornography. You have to be thinking of something that you did in the past. You have to be fantasizing of something that might happen or could happen or something that could happen in the future, whatever. You have to be contriving filth in your mind in order to masturbate. And then it gets physical again. Your body is the temple of the Most High. You are messing around with your temple.
They're now teaching that in schools.
Yeah. They don't teach that.
Yeah, they do.
Teach what?
Masturbation.
Really?
In school. Yes. Yes.
Whoa.
Some schools in more liberal cities are bringing devices to show fourth graders, third graders, books in the library about homosexuality. It is out of control. It is out of control. And if you say something at a school board meeting, you'll be escorted out. You'll be asked to leave because it's mostly folks who are in the pride community are pushing all of this. And one of the things they push not only gender fluidness is masturbation. And they teach this stuff all day long. It's in the news all the time. All the time. It's been going on for 7-8 years now that I can think of. When I first started seeing it, it's before 2020.
Oh.
Yeah. They teach it as if it's okay. This is a normal part of life.
So many people then, many so-called believers in the United States are going to go.
If you fight against it, then something's wrong with you. If you say something's wrong with that, then something's wrong with you. This is all natural. It's all okay. They've all it's all twisted. Yeah.
So they are being cultured to believe that it is right. So when they come into the way now and nobody is telling them that it is wrong, they are just going to continue the way that they were.
Yes. You have to specifically say it's wrong. Do what we're doing now, go through some of the scriptures for them to see it. And then if they're looking for the truth, they might accept it, but it's still a fence that they have to climb back over. Like most of the other sins that we've been going through that's embedded in us. But that one is being taught actively in elementary schools.
I know homosexuality is actually being taught.
Yes.
Whatever you want to be, whatever you choose.
Whatever you choose. And if you decide that you want to be the opposite sex, the teachers are encouraged to call you by that gender name without your parents' knowledge.
Yes.
Because they want the people to be handed over to a reprobate now.
Yeah. They want the world to be reprobate. And by the way, their Baphomet that they worship is
Male and female.
Male and female. So the whole idea, and that is why they want to make the sovereign male and female. All right? They want to tell you about the Queen of Heaven and all of that. And they want to tell you about why are you saying that he is male? That's male and female.
God is a woman.
Yeah, some people say yes. Some people say God is a woman. Yeah.
That's why that mark of the beast is not in, it's the letters XES on purpose.
Yeah.
Those spell out 666, but it's backward sex.
Yeah.
They've taken everything that has to do with Adam and they've turned it completely around.
And then we have the rise of the pride community when it comes to sexual immorality. The pride is the one of the biggest festivals in America. The homosexuals come out in their rainbow colors. Everybody proud that they are homosexuals. The end time is going to be really, really serious. Really, really serious. They took the colors of the Most High's flag, of the Most High's rainbow, rather. There's 7 colors, isn't it? And they dropped one and made it 6. Hey. Dropped one and made it 6, and are celebrating with the 6 and taking the colors to be theirs.
Which color they drop, you know?
Yeah?
You know which color they drop?
I think it's indigo, I think. The last time I checked it. One of those. Indigo.
Indigo's down the street.
Yes. I think it's indigo. The last time I checked, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's indigo. Let me see if it's here. In reality, the pride flag intentionally excludes indigo and features only 6 colors. What does indigo mean, though?
Kind of blue, isn't it?
It's like the skyline.
Pardon?
It's like the skyline when it's a clear day.
Oh, it's a blue. And that blue there is the blue of the Most High. The Most High's word is blue. The significance of omitting indigo. Blue dye. Blue dye. And Numbers 15:37. It has to do with the Most High. Has to. Numbers 15:37.
And Yahuwah spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto the children of Yasharal, and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generation, and that they put on the fringes of the borders a ribbon of blue.
Ribbon of blue. And this is cerulean blue, by the way. So it is a bluish, violetish blue, but it is blue. So the Most High's sign is this blue border. You see it? The Most High's sign is a blue border, so they omit the blue border and take the other colors and leave out this blue border. This makes fringes even more significant. You see it? The border that they left out is the one that we need to put on. The border that they left out is the one that we need to put on. The border of blue. So them sporting all those colors, leaving blue. We should be sporting blue and leaving all those colors. Oh, I'm just seeing this.
That was all that. If you go to Job 41.
Job
Job 41.
41.
Yes. 41 verse 34.
Job 41, 34.
Yes. Because Job is speaking about Leviathan. And then you read there, it says,
Oh,
Behold, all high things, he is a king over all the
children of pride. Wow. Leviathan. He beholdeth all things. He is a king over all the children of pride.
That's wild.
Wow. Pride people. Leviathan is a king over them. But Isaiah 27 verse 1.
In that day, Yahuwah, with his sore and great and strong sword, shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea.
All right, so let them have their pride moment. Yeah? Their day will come. Their day will come. All right, anyone has anything that we left out?
There was a movie that got released, I think it was last year, called Wicked. And they, you know how they sell kids merchandise after a major picture comes out? It's like the Wizard of Oz, a remake of the Wizard of Oz. It's about the Wicked Witch, how she became wicked. And when they started selling the dolls that came in the packaging, there was a website for children to go to, wicked.com, and that is a porn site. Wicked.com is a porn site, and after it was pointed out and hit the internet, they pulled the dolls off the shelves, but there's no telling how many got sold with that website on it, because that website had been there long before the movie. So the movie makers have to have their own website of a different name to promote it. But for whatever reason, marketing, and these people are pretty strict when it comes to how things are printed before it goes out. And they let that porn website be printed on all of these toys and sent out into the world on store shelves for I don't know how long before it was discovered. Yep. And all these kids have phones. They all have tablets. They all have the internet. And their parents simply don't check on what they're doing. Or at least a lot of them don't. So they are introducing this kind of material to children as fast as possible and as many ways as possible, including the school system.
Wow. All right.
Talking about that, you can also talk about spiritual wives and spiritual husbands.
All right. I don't know too much on that, so maybe you'll have to tell me.
For example, when you talk about the masturbation and you mentioned that it's going into an artificial world to get your fulfillment of your desire. It's basically going into spiritual marriages because you're basically having sex with spirits and you don't know by masturbating.
Oh yes. Yes. They have even looked into that spiritual aspect as well.
Even in your dreams, those spiritual wives can come in your dreams.
Yeah.
And they are the ones who cause you to be unclean most of the time.
Yes. Yeah.
Spiritual husbands.
Yeah, I forgot about all of those things. When you are masturbating and fantasizing, it is devils, demons that you actually bring into. You actually bring into your soul. And when you bring in those devils are there and they become, man oh man, they become riveted to you for years upon years upon years. And it is like they become a stronghold over a time. And our dreams are corrupted with these devils.
You can also talk about soul ties.
Do you know more about soul ties? Man? No, but you need to contribute because I don't know as much about that as you might. All right. So, yeah, allowing those devils inlets into us, and so people. For sexual immorality, it requires deep prayer, fasting against these forces that are against us. All of those things that we committed, and especially this pornography, masturbation, and fantasizing, That is a spiritual weight that we leave upon us, a heavy spiritual weight, by letting in devils into our lives. And these devils never leave us because they come in by permission, and we give them permission by inviting them in. And we invite them in through our thoughts. All right? Okay. All right, anyone else? Anything else we missed?
We can talk about the cure for all of this.
Yeah?
Cure.
The cure.
Flee from the midst of Babylon.
The cure.
Not just that, it can be cured even in Babylon.
Yeah. The cure is actually spiritual. The cure is spiritual because these are spiritual. You have to repent. You have to confess to begin with. It begins with repentance. It begins with confession. Some confession might be public. Some might be before the Most High. You declare it. And when you declare it now, then you have to prayer, fasting, and seek to truly follow Hamashiach. Because Shaul told us in 2 Corinthians 10, verse 3.
For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war against the flesh
Or after the flesh.
or after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through allure to the pulling down of strongholds.
All right, so the weapons we have must be pulled down the strongholds. Now, these devils become strongholds in our lives after a time. That is why people have wet dreams and dream of all sorts of devils coming and doing all sorts of things. These are strongholds that are in our lives. Verse 5.
Casting down imaginations.
Okay. Casting down imaginations. Continue. We'll finish that when we finish.
And every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of allure, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Hamashiach, and having in a readiness to avenge all disobedience when your disobedience is fulfilled. Your obedience, fulfilled.
All right, let me get it on this where we can go into it into more details. All right, so it says, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through allure to the pulling down of strongholds. A stronghold that enemy has. We have the weapon to pull it down. Casting down imaginations, logismos, which is a reasoning, such as is hostile to the faith, a judgment decision, such as conscience passes, reasoning, imagination, thought. So our weapons can cast down thoughts, to take down, to pull down, to demolish thoughts that exalt itself against the knowledge of allure, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Hamashiach. So those thoughts that were fashioned in us, that we developed over time through doing these sexual perversions, we can bring them, every thought, into captivity to the obedience of Hamashiach, which means every thought will be controlled through Hamashiach and will not be the thoughts of old. And then it says to the obedience of Hamashiach. That means when we are obedient to Hamashiach, every thought will be brought into that obedience. So we forget everything about those carnal thoughts and those carnal days and carnal feelings. That is how we cast them down. And verse 6, and having, go ahead.
Sorry. And having in a readiness to avenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled.
So when we come fully into obedience with a Mashiach, all the disobedience, all the things that we did of old will be revenged, which means we will erase them, we will move them away. They will no longer have any control or any hold upon us. So the key is Hamashiach. The key is obedience to Hamashiach. It is when we come into obedience to Hamashiach, then we are able to cast down all strongholds. That is why Hamashiach was able to cast out all devils. Remember, even when the disciples could not cast out the devils, Hamashiach came and cast them out. So as long as we are in obedience to Hamashiach, there can be no devil that can stay. No devil that can stay within us and rule us. All right? So that is how you get rid of these devils. It is Hamashiach. Obedience of Hamashiach. All right, anything else?
Okay, so I said you should get an understanding of the implications of these sins and these actions, and understand what they are bringing you into spiritually, and truly fear Yahweh and realize the position that you are in, and that will lead you to correcting yourself.
Yeah, and that will lead you to turn to his son, which is the remedy that the Most High has given us to overcome these things. Yeah? All right. The fear of Yahuwah is the beginning of wisdom, a good understanding of all they that do his commandments. His praise endureth forever. Yeah, the Yahuwah. Praise ye Yahuwah. All right, so only hope this was edifying to you. Thank you for listening, and do continue to check out the rest of our sin series. And shalom.